It's a Monday, and of course, we are back with Ubuntu Lifestyle. Apologies for bringing the program later. Either ways, the program must go on, and my name is Lawrence, hosting the program. Today, we are looking at lifestyle and eating, obviously, and we have today a very peculiar guest, and hopefully you get to learn more about her and learn everything that she shares with us this evening. Obviously, my name is Lawrence, as said earlier on, and this is Ubuntu Lifestyle, streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and of course on YouTube. So, getting into it, we are looking at eating healthy and lifestyle, of course, and it's one broad topic that cannot be done in one day, obviously, but we try by all means to give you as much information as possible so that we can help you live a healthy lifestyle. And that's what Ubuntu Lifestyle is all about. And uh, hoping that you learn one or two things. And of course, remember you can always participate in this on this program by commenting on whatever platform you're watching us from, and we shall be able to read your comments, obviously live on this very platform. And obviously, your questions will be answered by our studio guest this evening. So, going into the program, we are looking at eating healthy, and obviously, it's one topic that probably excites a lot of people because everybody's talking about changing eating habits and trying to live with a healthy lifestyle in terms of eating. And obviously, Thandiwe is in the studio. Thandiwe, good evening and welcome to Ubuntu Lifestyle.
Good evening, and thank you for hosting me on your program.
Awesome. Um, First and foremost, I must mention that we are talking about not just any other Thandiwe, it's Thandiwe Zulu, of course. And Thandiwe, just give us just a brief background of where you're coming from, so that we can try to qualify you as a professional in this particular subject.
Okay, thank you so much, Lawrence. So, as you have already been informed, my name is Thandiwe Zulu, and I have a Bachelor of Science in Human Nutrition from the University of Zambia, and I'm currently doing my master's in the same program, which is Human Nutrition, yet to graduate this year. And apart from that, I'm also a professional squash player. I play for the Zambian team from Ghana Squash Club. Okay, so I think that's it about me.
Interesting there, interesting, and obviously, talking about squash, something that interests us also, but that's a topic for another day. Actually, probably we'll hope to have you again to talk about that. Now, back to the honors that you have from the University of Zambia, and obviously talking about human nutrition in your as your field, as your expertise. We are trying to qualify what exactly does it mean if someone is eating healthy? What do you understand by that?
Okay, so eating healthy is basically having a balanced diet, and a balanced diet is one that should constitute of all the food groups, of course, in the right adequate amounts. So when you look at the food groups, we're looking at carbohydrates, we're looking at proteins, as well as fats. But all in all, the most important food group that we normally isolate a lot is the carbohydrates, because this is where we have a constitution of fruits and vegetables. And fruits and vegetables have what we call dietary fiber, and this is the only this component of food is only obtained from plant-based foods. It cannot be obtained from any other source apart from the plants. So that's why fruits and vegetables are very important, because of the fiber that we get, which aids in dietary digestion, absorption, as well as weight control, reduction of cholesterol, and also reduction of risk of developing hemorrhoids.
Okay. Before obviously, speaking as a layman, we are already getting confused by some of the things that are coming out from you. And I think bringing you to the Zambian setup, uh, on an average, a Zambian home will look at having shima with vegetables and probably, just for argument's sake, maybe some meat. And this is what basically we look at as our diet traditionally. Now, break it down for us. Does that constitute to healthy eating?
Okay, so when you talk about shima with vegetables and some meat, yes, that is a balanced diet because we have all the food groups constituted in that diet. But if this diet is missing any of those, then we have what we call an unhealthy diet. So when you look at nutrition and lifestyle, these two are very related. So I'll try and define these two terms in simple terms. So when you look at nutrition, we're looking at basically the food that we eat, how it's digested, how it's absorbed, as well as the health benefits of these foods. Then when you look at the word lifestyle, it's simply the way of life. Um, what people do in their daily activities. Okay. So these two are related in that nutrition contributes to what we call body composition. So when you look at body composition, it's simply the proportion of the fat and the fat free mass. So when you look at the fat free mass, we're looking at the bones, the muscle, the teeth, as well as organs and water that are in the body. But then when you look at the fat, it's actually the fat that surrounds the muscle, under the skin, and around the organs. Of course, some of this fat is essential, and by essential, we simply mean it's important. Okay, so it's important because it protects these organs and also regulates some hormones in the body. Therefore, if you reduce some amount of fat in this below the minimum, it may result into adverse health effects. Okay, so when we talk about body composition, again, this is important because it is seen in the body weight. It is reflected in the body weight. And the body weight also indicates the health status of a person or wellness of a person. And this is also linked to what we call non-communicable diseases. So these non-communicable diseases include diseases like type 2 diabetes, hypertension. We have some cancers like colon cancer. And then we also have cardiovascular diseases as well as mental health. Well, I don't know if this could interest you, but mental health is also linked to the food that we eat. Some foods, especially the sugary foods, actually do stimulate depression. Okay,
Oh, okay. Now
that's for another day.
that's new. That's new. Really, that's new. But before we go so far. Um, my idea is I'm trying to bring in just a typical Zambian setup,
Mhm.
average Zambian home and all that, and that is what we are looking at, maybe mostly. And it's interesting also to note that we seem to be a one kind of a diet based community, or communities, or probably country, I should put it, because the only thing we know is Nsima. Until I have some Shima, that's when I have eaten. And now it's I've come across some people, if you give them something else other than Shima, they'll eat, and they'll still say, I have not yet eaten.
Until I'm in Shimafu.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So,
Yeah.
does diversity in the kinds of foods that we eat, even if in the right proportions of all the groups of types, I don't know, groups of food that you listed earlier on, does variety also add some sort of flavor to a healthy eating?
Okay, thank you for that, Lawrence. So actually, that food diversification is about the nutrient value that you're trying to get from the food, not really the flavor. So when we're looking at it from the nutrition point of view, we're actually looking at the nutrition value of each food component that you intend to add to your diet. So when we look at the basic the basic home, normally we have mishima, vegetables, and some meat, as you mentioned earlier, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So what is killing us in this day and age is what we call nutrition transition. Okay. So nutrition transition is the basic shift from our traditional food to a Western type of diet. Okay. So
yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure maybe back then when you're young, when we visited our grandparents, would find a lot of different foods. There would be different types of grains and seeds ready to eat. Okay. So would have millet, would have sorghum, would have maize, there would be some, there would be groundnuts, there would be pumpkin seeds, which are common in Chilanga Mulilos, and those are usually prepared in small portions. I don't know why, when they're very important. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
now we are trying to copy the Western type of diet. Okay. And this
Yeah.
one includes the pasta, the polished rice, which is the white rice. We have the pizzas, we have burgers, we have shawarmas. That's the type of food that we want to be eating. Well, that food is not healthy because of this reason. The food is high in salt, sugar, as well as fats. And these are the three things that we try to take in moderation. They are important for the body, but we try to take them in moderation. But then the type of diet that we're trying to copy from the Western
Just,
world.
just to, sorry to cut you short, but one would argue and say, if you say the food is bad for us, but the ones who brought it, the whites, are eating the same kinds of food, is it also bad for them?
Yes, it is. It's bad for everyone. It's bad for everyone. Okay. So you can have it once in a while, okay? Maybe once a month or once in 2 months, but we have to get back to our traditional diet, okay? So we need to get back to our cereals, our grains, our vegetables. And I think of late I've been seeing different pictures on Facebook showing breakfast back in the days. So you see on a plate there would be groundnuts, there would be fresh boiled maize, there would be pumpkin, and some cup of tea. That is
Yeah, yeah.
typical of our traditional diet, and that food is healthy because it's got different nutrient value. But then when you look at the Western type, it's different.
Now,
So yes.
I'll talk about nutrition in relation to probably the life expectancies in the different countries. You have mentioned of the foods that have come from out of the probably foreign. Let me say you termed it as foreign-based foods or foreign-based diets, and they have come in. But the people who have brought them in have higher life expectancies than us. Where is the combination there?
And where is that evidence, Lawrence?
Um, I think if you can go anywhere, Google anywhere, check the life expectancies for most European countries or even in the United States, and compare it with ours. Ours is lower.
Okay, so when you talk about expectancy, I think it's different when it comes to the nutrition related conditions because at the end of the day, what we are coming to terms with is the nutrition related conditions. Okay, so
Okay.
if we eat a bad diet or unhealthy diet, what we're going to get is nutrition related conditions, which I mentioned earlier,
Yeah.
the NCDs, okay? And
Yeah.
then just before you cut me short, I was trying to talk about body composition and how it affects us, okay? So if we
Mhm.
don't take care of our body composition, if we don't take care of the foods that we are eating, we are going to end up with these non-communicable diseases. And when you look at the non-communicable diseases worldwide, about 2.1 billion people in the world suffer from these NCDs, and the highest percentage is from the West.
Okay.
Okay. So the life expectancy can be different, but our concern is to what extent are these people affected by the NCDs, even just in Zambia here, okay? Because my research was actually about nutrition and physical activity, okay? So when I was looking at the statistics of people who die yearly just from these nutrition conditions, they are very high. And these are deaths that can be avoided by eating right and, of course, exercising. Because WHO, which is the World Health Organization, recommends that we're supposed to exercise at least 30 minutes a day. Okay. And then we're also supposed to eat at least 3 to 5 portions of fruits and vegetables daily. Lawrence, how many portions of fruits and vegetables did you have today?
Did I have a veggie?
You see? Hmm? But I'm sure I
Yeah,
had some meat
but
today.
I had a banana. Obviously, I did have that one. I did.
Okay.
But for
That's
vegetables,
still below the recommendation. At least 3 to 5 portions per day.
I see. I'll work on
Yes,
that.
please.
So, now, when I would want to know, um, what conditions what kind of conditions do we expect in people who are lacking in some portions of the recommended nutrition?
Okay, so it all builds up from the two common conditions which I think we are all aware of. There's overweight and obesity.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, still comes
yeah, yeah.
back to body composition. Okay, so your weight actually determines your health status, like I mentioned earlier. Okay, so when someone is overweight or obese, they are at high risk of developing these non-communicable diseases, which are shortened as NCDs. So these ones include type 2 diabetes, we have hypertension, we have cardiovascular diseases, mental health as well, and colon cancer. Okay, so earlier on I was talking about fiber. So if you're not having a healthy diet, that is a diet that is also rich in fruits and vegetables, you're already putting yourself at risk of developing hemorrhoids, because hemorrhoids are dietary fiber related. Okay, and then when you're taking too much of sugary foods, the sugary drinks, the carbonated drinks, and all these fast foods that we are always feeding on daily, you're likely to develop type 2 diabetes, even hypertension, okay? Because there's a buildup of fat in the lower abdomen. I'll give you two types of shapes. We have the apple shape and we have the pear shape. So
Oh,
so for people who have the apple shape, okay, they're at a higher risk of developing cardiovascular diseases compared to those with a pear-shaped abdomen, okay? And
okay.
the apple shape is normally observed in people with pot bellies. I'm sure you now get the picture, right?
Yeah, I get the picture. I get
Yeah.
the picture.
And then the pear shaped, you have a small waist and obviously, bigger curves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that one is a healthy body shape, the pear. And
Okay.
then the pot belly, that's the apple shape, and we do not recommend that. We actually try to trim your tummy so that you can have a pear-shaped body. So
I
once you have,
I seriously hope the director is listening to that because I think he's the apple shaped Mr. Emmanuel himself. Trust me on that one. uh, moving on. Um, um, when you talk of overweight and obesity, one might confuse that to be as a result of maybe having one portion, to be specific, the fats more in the body, more than what the body requires. Is that so?
Well, to some extent, yes, but we are scientists, so we don't work on assumptions. That's why we have assessment tools. Okay, so if when we look at you physically,
Okay.
um, so when we look at you physically, we would know what type of test to carry out. Okay, so like I said, your weight is able to detect your health status. So each person has got their maximum weight, ideal weight. Okay, so depending, and this is all dependent on your height. That's why we have issues of BMI, which is the body mass index. So the body mass index is what would determine whether you have a healthy weight, okay, which is normal, or whether you're underweight, overweight, or obese. So the WHO has got classifications for BMI. Of course, 18 to 24.9 is that's the normal range. So between 25 and 29, 29.9, that's overweight, okay? And then between 30 and 34, that's obesity type 1. Sorry, yes,
Sorry, just for the sake of a viewer out there who does not understand what BMI actually means, I'll have to just ask you to be so basic on that one because I know this time around it's easy to even check some of these things, but people do not know how to. But even apps are there that do that, but they don't know what it means, how to translate it, how to do it, or what it means, and all that. Just try to just break down what BMI entails.
So like I said earlier, BMI is body mass index. So body mass index is a tool that we use in nutrition to determine your your health status. Okay, so it will actually tell you whether you're underweight. It will also tell you whether you're within the normal range, whether you're overweight or obese.
Uh-huh.
And then it's also got classifications of whether you're in the obesity type 1 or 2.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So it's just basically a tool. And for you to assess this, you need someone's weight and height because BMI is dependent on the body weight and body height.
Okay. So you can proceed with what you were trying to explain earlier on before I interrupted you.
Okay, so like I was saying earlier, um, overweight and obesity, these are the risk factors for developing the non-communicable diseases. And then I also mentioned about the body shapes that we are supposed to have. There's the apple shape, which is not healthy because somebody with an apple shape has got a buildup of abdomen fat. And that abdomen fat is what will cause a risk for developing what we call central obesity. So central obesity is just being obese on your abdomen, not the whole body. Because you can find someone who is very small looking, but has got a pot belly. Okay. So that's what we would call central obesity. Okay. Yeah.
You know one thing, Tandy.
Yes.
Apparently, in Zambia, if you are married and you do not have a pot belly, people start asking questions if your wife is taking good care of you. And I think these are questions that I've been asked several times. Ah, where is the pot belly? You're not one of us. You're not one of us in those lines. And sometimes when you look at people with these pot bellies and the like, uh, there is a general belief that actually they are alcohol related. They come up because of alcohol. Does alcohol do that?
Yes, it does.
Interesting.
Okay. That's an interesting question. So, if you don't have a pot belly, it's a good thing because I mean you're healthy. I think we need to do a lot of sensitization out there because many people also associate a pot belly with a sign of wealth. Okay. But then to answer your question about alcohol, so alcohol does have what we call empty calories. Okay. So calories is simply the energy unit that we use in nutrition. Okay, so when you look at
Mm-hmm.
one meal of of alcohol, this one is equivalent to 7 calories of energy that you get. Okay, so now you tell me, Lawrence, how many meals is a bottle of, what do you drink? Black Label?
You're asking me what I drink. Okay.
Okay, just
All the
tell
same,
me the
I,
meals so we
a
calculate
bottle,
the
a
amount.
bottle, a bottle is a bottle is around 300 and 330 meals, I think, if I'm not mistaken. And there are these big ones they have brought about, which are about eight, I think about 600 meals. And then they have now introduced a liter, I
Wow.
think. I just saw some photos of a liter of Black Label.
Okay, so what happens to the calories that we get from alcohol? Like I said, these are empty calories, and by that
Okay.
we mean that they have no nutrition value, but they are what? Calories. So the body is going to convert these calories into fat. So if we're looking at one bottle, which is 330 mils. So 330 mils multiplied by 7 calories, because 7 calories is coming from one meal.
Yeah.
How many calories is that just from one bottle? That's 2,301, sorry, 2,310 calories just from one bottle.
Mm-hmm.
And this person is not only consuming one bottle, but more than this. So where do you expect all the empty calories to go? They'll be stored in the body. Of course, some will be expelled, but the rest will be stored in the body. And that's how come you end up having a pot belly.
Interesting. Um, Also, I think there is one interesting phenomenon we have in Zambia. You only eat fruits when you are in what the F21 at UTH. That's when we get serious with eating fruits. Uh, how how bad is that?
Well, it is very bad. It is very bad, unfortunately. Like I said, the World Health Organization recommends that on a daily basis, you're supposed to eat at least 3 to 5 portions of fruits and vegetables. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this is very important because the fruits and vegetables give us the vitamins, we have the antioxidants, and then there's also the dietary fiber, which I talked about earlier. Okay.
Okay.
So actually, someone can survive on this, and that's how come vegetarians are able to even live a longer life, you see, because they have all the food nutrients from the plant based foods. Well, of course, for vitamin B12, which is only um, taken from the animal sources.
You just put something out of my script, actually. I was coming to the vegan diet, actually. Um, there are quite a number of people I've seen who have taken up this and have become vegan. Um, uh, no meat whatsoever. Some have taken it a step further. Not even the cooking oil should be used on their food, and they only eat greens. End of story. And this the background from for that is when God created us, he put us in the garden of Eve. He put Adam and Eve in the garden of Eden. Before they were allowed to slaughter any meat, they only depended on veggies, and that is why people only eat veggies. That's all. How good is that?
Well, vegetables and fruits are okay. Like I said, because they have all the food groups that we need.
One don't you miss out one part of the food groups that you mentioned that probably comes from meat and all that.
It's vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is the only food component that is obtained from animal sources.
Okay.
Okay, so actually, a vegan diet is okay because these guys don't miss out much. And if they want vitamin B12, they have fortified cereals. So there's food fortification that we have where we deliberately add nutrients to a food that is being processed. Okay, so
Tandi,
vegetarians are apt.
Tandi, I'll ask you, do you eat meat?
Yes, I do.
But uh, you are almost convincing me to stop eating meat.
No, no, no. I'm not convincing you to stop eating meat. So when you look at meat, meat is broad. Okay. So what we
Okay.
advise is for you to eat lean meat. Okay. Lean meat. And then there's issues of red meat and white meat. Okay. Of
Yeah.
course, there's been inconclusive information about red meat with it being directly linking to causing cancer. Okay.
Okay.
But the meat that we recommend people to eat is white meat, and white meat is meat that we get from chicken and fish. Okay,
Okay.
red meat you just have to limit yourself to at least consumption of once per week, or even once in 2 weeks. That's fine for red meat, but white meat is okay. That's why our friends out there have what we call a Mediterranean diet,
Okay.
which is composed of fruits and vegetables, the avocados, the olives, and then they have a limitation of red meat and the higher consumption of white meat. Of course, it also includes a bit of red wine. Okay, like I said, a bit of red wine, not a lot, but just a bit.
But the moment you introduce red wine to a Zambian, I'm sure you know what it means. Uh, we
Yeah,
don't we don't drink a bit, we drink enough.
we have to drink in moderation.
Okay, you are on Ubuntu channel. Thank you so much for joining us to catch up with Ubuntu lifestyle. And on this edition, we have Tandi, a nutritionist, actually, who is shedding more light on eating healthy. In this case, we are talking about we are just breaking down what eating healthy is all about. And Tandi, um, I think before I let you go, um, I think what one mistake, I don't know if I should call it a mistake or probably something that we need to change about here in Zambia is um, uh, things that arise from timings of eating. What are the effects of eating and sleeping, especially after a heavy meal like in Shima and we go to sleep?
Okay, please repeat your question.
I'm saying we have a habit of eating heavy on our Nshima
Mhm.
and sleeping. Is there any effect on that? Is that advisable?
Well, do you mean having a heavy meal before going to bed?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, of course there is, because we're looking at digestion. Okay? Digestion is a process and it requires energy for food to be broken down in the body. So what you're actually doing is that when you eat a heavy meal, you're actually increasing the amount of energy that the body is supposed to use to break down that food. Now, look at this scenario that you've given me. You're going to bed and it's after dinner, okay? So instead of the body resting, okay, because at this point you're supposed to rest, instead of the body resting, now you're putting the body to go into now using a lot of energy trying to break down this food that you've eaten. So it's not advisable to have a heavy meal at dinner time. So, like they say, at breakfast, you're supposed to eat like a queen, right?
Yeah.
And then lunch, eat like a king, and then eat like a pauper at night, so that at least the body doesn't use up so much energy as you try to sleep.
In other words, our nutritionist is discouraging us from eating those shimas we like eating at 22 hours. is
Yeah,
it?
22 hours is not a good time to have dinner. At least you need to have dinner between 18 and 20 hours, at least. So that even by the time you're going to bed, the food would have already digested.
Okay, here's the thing, Tanzi. Today we have this short program, and I'll pin it as the introductory to this one because there is so much we have to break down concerning nutrition and the human body, of course. And of course, we started the show quite late, and the time is not on our side. And as a result, we just have to get going. But we shall obviously invite you again to come and break this one down because there's just so much that we have to talk about and enlighten quite a number of people on. How is that?
That's okay.
Awesome. I'll give you a minute to just give your closing remarks on this one. We're just going to call this one as part one, introductory.
All right. Yeah, indeed, it is an introductory because we've just been scratching on the surface on most of the things that you've been talking about.
Exactly.
And thank you so much, Lawrence, for having me on your program. So, as we conclude, my take home message for the viewers out there is that you need to watch what you eat because we are what we eat. Avoid your carbonated drinks, your highly sugary drinks, and then also try to avoid eating from restaurants. I know people out there don't really have time to cook their own meals at home, but um, try by all means to prepare your own meals and then also avoid eating a lot of foods that have got sugar, salt, and fat. And then also exercise, at least exercise 30 minutes per day. We'll shed more light on this probably in part two. Yeah. So
All right.
watch what you eat, exercise 30 minutes daily, and please eat your fruits and vegetables at least 3 to 5 portions daily.
I'm
Thank
guilty
you
on
so
that
much.
Alrighty, thank you so much for tuning in on this Monday edition of Ubuntu Lifestyle. And obviously, we apologize for coming late. This was due to circumstances beyond our control. But all the same, we shall continue on this discussion later on, maybe next week, obviously, and we shall arrange with Thandiwe to come back and shed more light on this topic. I've been Lawrence hosting you. Good night.